faves. So I have slides today. I don't normally do that, but I woke up at 4 o'clock and I thought, I should have slides. Well, thank you, ChatGPT, because they created the slides for me. I just had a little conversation. And you can go to the next one. Yes, the power of strength. Yes. So, you know, we are living in these crazy, very uncertain times. Really insane, uncertain times right now. And part of what's going on is our nervous systems are not functioning in the way that they were designed to function. And I think people can feel it. I know people are yawning because they lost an hour of sleep, but we're not even dealing with that. There's so many other things that are going on. We've got the war going on. We've got environmental issues. We've got a lot of distrust in our government, most of us have. And it's causing a lot of inner anxiety for us. Can I go to the next slide, Liz? So I just want to anchor for a minute, and you guys maybe can't see this. I'm sorry about that. Next time I'll put them up higher. But spiritual strength is the calm center within us that remembers that God is present even when the world feels unsteady. So that's the ground of what I want us to focus on today, this idea that this awareness that we have of this quality within us, and remembering that the 12 powers, which are listed on your bulletin cover, these are capacities that we all carry inside of us. They're qualities of beingness that we all carry. So spiritual strength is not something that we get from the outside. It's literally a quality that we activate within ourselves. And one of the things that I find so incredibly powerful about the work of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, which began over 100 years ago, is the things that we're hearing now from neuroscience, from physicists. Everybody's excited about it. And if you look back at Charles Fillmore, Fillmore had these insights years and years and years ago. And the insight basically is what's going on in our thought and feeling nature. So we're talking not just about our thinking nature, but our thinking and feeling nature, our emotional nature, is going to impact what happens not only in the outer world, but also throughout our physical body, because we're carrying that energy of a physical body, which has a density to it. So I think it's really important to begin to understand the quality of spiritual strength within us and to understand how it impacts us in the physical body. And then we'll look at some of the other qualities of spiritual strength that we can really bring out in terms of our awareness. So let's go to the next slide. So one of the things that is important to be aware of is the location of spiritual strength in our physical body. It's in the lower back region of the body, which is where the adrenal glands are located. And what are those adrenal glands for? They're to give you a big boost of energy. If you fight or flight, if something troubles you, if there's a bear out there, your adrenals are going to go, I'm paying attention to that, probably running the other way, or, I don't know what the proper thing to do is. Get your bear spray out. So, but what's happened for us is there's no bear, and we're still activating the energy of the adrenal glands, and we're exhausting aspects of our body by this overactive adrenal energy. Again, it's located in the area where Fillmore has identified the power of strength. Another area of the body, and I'm going to have you turn to the next slide. How many people have heard of the psoas? The P is silent. A few people. Well, in my exercise class this week, in my senior strength, we had a guest teacher, and she was all over the psoas. Painful as it was, we're lying on the chair going backwards, pedaling. She says, just look at the ceiling and think about it. But the psoas muscle is a key muscle in our body, and most of us have either not heard of it, don't know what it does, but the psoas muscle is a muscle that connects the legs to the upper body. So it's a very pivotal and very important muscle when we think about our physical balance, our stability, standing straight, being able to move forward and backward. And that's one of the powers of spiritual strength and strength in the physical body, that we have the capacity to feel stable and to have that sort of balanced center that we can move forward and backward. So this area in the body that Fillmore has identified for us includes the adrenal glands. It also includes these psoas muscles in the body. Can I have the next slide? A third area of the body that we don't talk about a lot, but science is certainly talking a lot about it now, is what's known as the vagus nerve. And you can think about vagus like a vagrant. It's a wandering nerve. It runs through so many organs in the body. You can see where it's connected to so many aspects of the body. The thing about the vagus nerve is, whereas our adrenals can cause us, when we're in fight or flight, the adrenals can get exhausted because they're overproducing hormone. And if we aren't exercising properly and really connecting the psoas muscle and activating that muscle, which we can do by walking, basically. But sitting does not activate the psoas, unfortunately. That keeps us balanced and keeps us strong. The vagus nerve is something that activates our parasympathetic nervous system. And our parasympathetic nervous system is the part of our body that rests and digests. It's the part of the body that has the ability to calm us down. So I'm connecting all these things because this is the area that Fillmore has identified for us as the source of spiritual strength in the physical body, and how it will impact us in terms of not only how we show up in the world, how balanced we are, whether we can walk and move physically, but also how balanced we are in our inner world, in our emotional body, which leads to thinking clearly and having clear focus and direction in terms of our thinking. So there's also a teaching in Chinese medicine. I don't know if anyone here is practicing or has awareness of Qigong or Tai Chi, but in those practices, there's an area of the body down just below the belly button they call the dantian. They actually have 3 different areas known as dantian, but the lower dantian is known as the center of the body. And whenever you do movement in those practices, you're moving from this, again, balanced center of the body. So to me, it was so important to be able to see all these pieces that are connected in the same area of the body. And, I think I don't know about you, but I found unity, and I think the reason I was really excited about it was because my mind could understand spirituality in a new way. My thinker was very excited about unity, understanding metaphysics. Anybody else like that? I kind of came in through the door of my thinker. But the more I've come to understand the work of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore and the Unity and New Thought teachers, they were not just about talking about our thoughts. They were very much about connecting with the emotional energy, the feeling nature, the thoughts and feelings together. And in a sense, the feeling nature, which is located down here in the belly region, solar plexus, belly, this lower region, this is what actually can impact the thoughts more than the thoughts can impact this lower region. And so I feel like in the time we're in right now, it's so important that we begin to really learn to manage these systems, to learn to manage the nervous system, to calm ourselves down, to really anchor ourselves in the truth of who we are, deeply connected to the presence and power of God in every moment. So before I keep going in the talk and add some more things, I'd like to just do a little easy exercise with all of you if you're willing to do it. And again, you don't have to close your eyes. You can if you want. We're not turning out lights or anything. This is not our meditation. But I'm just going to invite you to just sit with your feet on the floor and just take a nice slow breath in and out. Breathing in slowly and letting it out gently. And now just bring your attention to the center of your body, just below the navel. This area that in the Chinese tradition they call the dantian, the physical center of our balance. And as you breathe, imagine that your breath is moving into that center, that lower center, just below the navel. Breathing into that lower area, let your jaw relax. Let your shoulders soften. And notice that the quality of strength doesn't feel like tension at all. Strength feels like groundedness. It feels like being rooted deeply into the earth. And as you breathe, just silently affirm to yourself, divine strength is alive in me. I am steady. I am centered. I am supported by the divine. And from that center, life can move freely. Being aware when we return to the center like this, we quiet the alarm system of the brain. And we remind our body that it is safe. And from that safe place of calm, spiritual strength can guide us rather than any fear, any uncertainty. So gently, as you're ready, you can bring your awareness back into the room as you're guided. So I want to move to the next slide, if you would. So spiritual strength is what happens when we return from the fear in our head to the truth in our center. Did you have that experience of just immediately being able to go into a place of calm? 3 minutes maybe. Just focusing. We didn't even have you breathe in that area, but moving out of anything that's going on in the outer, we can move into that place of spiritual strength and calm. Can I have the next slide? So I want to touch on some of the qualities. I realize I've been talking a lot about the physical body, but I think it's really important for us to understand how anchored in the physical body our unity teachings actually are, and how what we've known for years as metaphysicians is now something that is all over the world in terms of internet and things that people are teaching, how to calm ourselves down, how to quiet ourselves with meditation. But this quality of spiritual strength is a stabilizing quality, and you can feel how that is part of the experience in the physical body. It's a stabilizing quality, and from that quality of stabilizing us, our spiritual strength allows us to feel centered and to really feel rooted. It also has this quality of steadfastness, where you make a decision to do something and you just stay with that. You have this spiritual strength to say, okay, this is what I said I'm going to do, even when it doesn't feel good, or even when I don't see the results that I thought I would see tomorrow. I'm willing to keep on keeping on. That's part of the quality of spiritual strength. There's a quality of spiritual strength that is about stillness. And when people think about strength, we, in the outer, we're sort of thinking about power and pushing and force. But spiritual strength is almost the opposite of that. It comes from that place of deep, deep stillness. there's also a quality, in addition to steadfast and persistence, there's a quality of patience involved in spiritual strength, where we're willing to know that even when we can't see the outcome, we feel and know that the divine is expressing through us in the right and perfect time that which our heart is calling forth in our own individual lives. So these qualities of stabilizing, steadfastness, the stillness, the persistence, and the quality of patience are all aspects that we can call upon when we're finding ourselves out in the world, not able to really know what to think, what to feel, because there's so much chaos around us, which I think is something many of us are really feeling a lot right now in our lives. A couple of just interesting affirmations that we can make on this, and thinking about spiritual strength inviting us into an awareness of divine timing, which could activate the quality of patience for many of us. Strength is the willingness to stay faithful to the divine good even when we cannot yet see the outcome. And I think we have to hold to that, this quality of the God within us, and that calm presence that we can hold with strength is holding to our inner knowing that we are one with the presence of divine, and divine is good, even when it doesn't feel like that in the outer. You know, years ago, I was working in Unity in Palo Alto. Sue was there, actually, that was in the 90s. And we had a series called Healing, Myth, Magic, and Miracle. And we had Bernie Siegel. Does anybody remember Bernie Siegel? Yeah, I mean, he was really, he was just an amazing man. He dealt a lot with children. And at the time, my daughter, she was 13, Elizabeth, and she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, which is a form of lymphatic cancer. She's now 43 and she's very healthy. But I remember calling Bernie because I was in charge of this program, and just saying, Bernie, help! You know, what do I do as a mother? I wanted to hold the high watch for her and do, you know, be in that place. And he said something about how, you know, sometimes we find our strength in our brokenness. You know, it's and so many times you hear that about people. And in that moment, you know, in the 90s when that happened with my daughter, you could say that my daughter was broken, but I was broken too. You know, I was broken. I just didn't know how to cope at all. And I really valued that understanding that there's this quality of strength that can come through the broken parts of who we are. And it reminded me of that Japanese pottery. I think it's called kintsugi. Does anybody know if I'm pronouncing it right? They take old pieces of pottery and they seam it back together with gold. And it's very, very beautiful and very, very solid. And that whole idea of how the places inside us where we feel that we are less than what we'd like to be, or we've, you know, crashed and burned in some cases, or we feel that way about the world we're living in right now, that there is this potential for the thread of gold and the divine energy to bring us back into wholeness that will be more strong, more beautiful than what was before. And I really just held on to that during that experience with my daughter, of just being fully present to this experience in the moment and allowing the strength and the spiritual anchor of love and wisdom to be a guide. So I invite us to do that in the time that we're in right now, that we really anchor into our spiritual life. I think I have another slide that I'd like to show. So strength is the willingness to stay faithful to the good even when we cannot see the outcome. That's a reminder of patience. Is there one more? I think I have another slide that yes. This is where I started. Spiritual strength is the calm center within us that remembers God is present even when the world feels unsteady, chaotic, confusing, whatever it is. So we have this capacity to really, really anchor in a deep place within ourselves, and even to do it by connecting in with the physical body as a way to calm our emotional center and to bring us back into the awareness of the truth of who we are as spiritual beings, held in the everlasting arms. You know, as Myrtle would say, I'm a divine child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. I do not inherit any ill. I inherit the divine goodness. So let's take a moment now and let's go do a meditation here. Yeah. Thank you, Guy. Beautiful. I invite you to close your eyes. And resting your hands gently in your lap. Take a nice slow breath in, allowing it to release. Again, breathing in slowly. And letting the breath soften as it flows out. And when the world seems a bit frightening and the mind begins to race with worries and imaginings and possibilities that haven't happened, we remember we can return to our center. So just breathe. Breathe and bring yourself back to that quiet center of your being. And as you breathe, bring your awareness to the center of the body, the place just below the navel, the dantian, that deep center of balance and strength. Say hello to your psoas, often called the muscle of the soul, the psoas. Say hello to your adrenals. And imagine your breath just flowing gently into that center of the body. And in this quiet place, remember something very important. The presence of God is here. Not far away, not coming someday, but right here within us, right now. Life isn't always easy, and sometimes we go through experiences that break our hearts. We have moments of uncertainty and loss, or we change. And yet even in those moments, Spirit is at work. God is here. And even in those moments, the divine doesn't discard us, doesn't think we're broken. The divine restores, just like the beautiful bowl repaired with gold. The cracks are not hidden, they're honored. And the bowl becomes more beautiful because of the care and the love that restored it. So in the same way, the places in our lives that have known difficulty are often the very, very deep places where wisdom and compassion, where love and strength arise. So now in this quiet moment, allow yourself to rest. Rest in the presence of divine strength. No effort, just resting. Resting in the truth of the life of God, alive within you now. And silently affirm within yourself, divine strength is alive in me. I am steady. I am centered. No matter what may be unfolding in the world around us, there is a calm center within us, a place of stillness. A place where Spirit continues to unfold love and wisdom. And from that center we can stand firm. So gently take a nice deep slow breath. Breathing in, divine strength is alive in me. Divine strength is alive in me. Divine strength is alive in me. And as you feel guided, bringing your awareness back into your physical body, you can gently open your eyes and come back to this moment, to this time, centered in the presence and power of the divine.